Departing from the lines, I decided to tackle the idea of points, which was more similar to the type of representation that we find in photographs themselves. I had met a group of children in the Caribbean island of St. Kitts, and I did work and play with them. I got some photographs from them. Upon my arrival in New York, I decided they were children of sugar plantation workers. And by manipulating sugar over a black paper, I made portraits of them. These are, thank you. It says Valentina de Festas. It was just the name of the child with the little thing you get to know of somebody that you meet very briefly. Valicia, Jacinta. But another layer of representation was still introduced. Because I was doing this while I was making these pictures, I realized that I could add still another thing. And I was trying to make a subject, something that would interfere with the theme. So chocolate is very good because it brings to mind ideas that go from scatology to romance. And so I decided to make these pictures, and they were very large, so you had to walk away from it to be able to see them. So they're called pictures of chocolate. Freud probably could explain chocolate better than I. Was the first subject. And Jackson Pollock also. Pictures of crowds are particularly interesting because, you go to that, you try to figure out the threshold with something that you identify very easily, like a face goes into becoming just a texture. Paparazzi. I used the dust of the Whitney Museum to render some pieces of their collection. And I picked minimalist pieces because they're about specificity. And you render this with the most known specific material, which is dust itself. It has the skin particles of every single museum visitor. They do a DNA scan on this, they would come up with a great mailing list. This is Richard Serra. I bought a computer and told me it had millions of colors in it. An artist's first response to this is, who counted it? I realized that I never worked with color because I had a hard time controlling the idea of single colors. But once they are applied to numeric structure, then you feel more comfortable. So the first time I worked with colors was by making these mosaics of Pantone swatches. They end up being very large pictures, and I photographed with a very large camera, 8x10 camera, so you can see the surface of every single swatch of paper, like in this picture of Chuck Close. And you have to walk very far to be able to see it. Also, the reference to Gerd Richter use of color charts. And the idea also entering another realm of representation that's very common to us today, which is the bitmap. I ended up narrowing the subject to Monet haystacks. This is something I used to do as a joke, make the same, like Robert Smith's in Spiral Jet, and then leaving traces of that as if it was done on a tabletop. Like trying to prove that he didn't do that thing in the South Lake. But then, just doing the models, I was trying to explore the relationship between the model and the original, and I felt that I would have to actually go there and make some earthworks myself. I opted for very simple line drawings, kind of stupid looking, and at the same time I was doing this very large construction to be 150 meters away. Now I would do very small ones, which would be like, but under the same light. And I would show them together, so the viewer would have to really figure out what he was looking. I wasn't interested in the very large things or in the small things, but I was more interested in the things in between, because you leave an enormous range for ambiguity there. This is like you see the size of a person over there. This is a pipe hanger. And this is another thing that I did, working, I think everybody loves to watch somebody draw, but not many people have a chance to watch somebody draw in like a lot of people at the same time to evidence a single drawing. And I love this work because I did this cartoonish clouds over Manhattan for a period of 2 months. And it was quite wonderful because I had an early interest in theater that's justified on this thing. In theater, you have the character and the actor in the same place, trying to negotiate each other in front of an audience. And in this, you would have like something that looks like a cloud, and it is a cloud at the same time. So they're like perfect actors. My interest in acting, especially bad acting, goes a long way. Actually, I once paid like $60 to see a very great actor to do a version of King Lear. And I felt really robbed, because by the time the actor started being King Lear, he stopped being the great actor that I had paid money to see. On the other hand, you know, I paid like $3, I think, and I went to a warehouse in Queens to see a version of Othello by an amateur group. And it was quite fascinating because, you know, the guy, his name was Joey Grimaldi. He impersonated the Moorish general. You know, the first 3 minutes he was really that general, and then he went into Becky the plumber. He worked as a plumber, so plumber, general. So for $3, I saw 2 tragedies for the price of 1. See, I think you know, it's not really about impressing or making people fall for a really perfect illusion, as much as it is to make. I usually work at the lowest threshold of visual illusion, because it's not about fooling somebody, it's actually giving somebody a measure of their own belief, how much you want to be fooled. That's why we pay to go to magic shows and things like that. Oh, I think that's it. My time is nearly up. Thank you very much.